unique container called a deque. It's spelled D-E-Q-U-E, and it's pronounced deque. It's unique in a few ways, not to mention its pronunciation. It has the semantics of a vector, but it's optimized as a double-ended queue, hence the name deque, pronounced deque, so as to not confuse it with a verb about removing things from a queue. It's really a double-ended queue, which is why it's spelt that way, and it's pronounced the way that it's pronounced so that there's less confusion about what it actually is. So let's open up deque.cpp, and we'll copy that and paste it into our working project, and we'll go ahead and compile and run it so we can walk through the code. So you notice I have the deque header on line 3, and on line 9, I'm creating and initializing a deque of integers. And you notice I'm using the initializer list from C++11. Now you'll notice that much like a vector, you can insert and delete anywhere. It has all the functionality of a vector. It has size, it has front and back. There on line 14, we're inserting at an iterator of the beginning plus 5. And you see then our size is 11, and we're subscripting the 5 and we get our value. And then we erase it, and our size is 10, and then we subscript and we have our original value there, which was 6. And here we use push back and push front on lines 23 and 28. So we're pushing back a number 47, and you see that when we call back, we have a 47, and we're pushing front a 192, and you see when we call front, we have 192. Here we use a range-based iterator, another C++11 feature, and you see that it works just as we would expect it to. We have the 192 at the front and the 47 at the back. And here we do pop front and pop back. And then we have our original deque back. So where a vector is really just a C array at its heart, a deque is actually much more complex. So it's slower at random access. You don't want to actually use a deque like you would a vector. You don't actually want to do things like this with it, where you're subscripting and grabbing things from the middle of it with an index. It's not fast at those kinds of things, and if that's the kind of thing that you need, you really want to be using a vector. What it's good at is rapidly pushing and popping from either end. That's what it's designed for, and that's why it's the default container for stacks and queues. So even though it has all the functionality of a vector, it's most often used as the base container for a stack or a queue. So the deque container is optimized as a double-ended queue. Even though it has full random access iterator capabilities, it's most often used as the default container for stacks and queues. Let's go ahead and delete our working file.